Today we'll talk about 5 signs that you might have social anxiety as well as 3 ways to overcome it. So make sure you stay until the end to get those useful tools. Let's get started. To begin, let's define social anxiety, which is defined as a marked fear or anxiety about one or more social situations in which the individual is exposed to possible scrutiny by others, such as meeting new people, giving a speech, or having someone watch you do something like eat or work on something. We also have to worry about being judged negatively if we act or exhibit anxiety symptoms. We avoid or endure social situations with intense fear or anxiety almost always because they elicit fear or anxiety. Fear and anxiety are now out of proportion to the actual threat posed by the social situation, and they are persistent, lasting 6 months or more. Also, social anxiety differs from shyness in that shyness is a personality trait that can be managed. Social anxiety, on the other hand, is a mental illness that causes uncontrollable worry and impairs our ability to function in our daily lives. Because the diagnostic criteria don't really tell us how social anxiety looks or feels, let's look at those 5 signs. The first sign is that we are extremely self-conscious. Because a lot of social anxiety stems from our fear of doing something embarrassing or being disliked, we can become hyper-aware of everything we do and say. Not to mention how we appear. We can try to think through what we intend to say before saying it, or we can imagine how others will react to us. We can even try to imitate other people's behavior so that we don't appear strange or out of place. We may find it difficult to concentrate, maintain eye contact, or communicate our thoughts. This can make it difficult for us to be present in conversations or even understand what is being said. This, in turn, can have an impact on our work or school, not to mention our relationship. Number 2, we avoid regular social situations as much as possible. It's natural to feel nervous or anxious when performing in front of an audience or meeting someone for the first time. However, when we have social anxiety, it is difficult for us to participate in normal social situations such as going to a short lunch with friends we've known for years or asking a colleague a quick question about work. We can postpone these social situations or find ways to avoid them so that we do not have to put ourselves in that awkward position. Many of my social anxiety patients were relieved to be able to work from home over the last 2 years because it gave them a break from it all. And they were finally able to work without feeling anxious. Number 3, we replay social interactions repeatedly. Years ago, I had a patient who came to me because she wasn't sleeping well and couldn't figure out why. She went to her regular doctor, who referred her to me. After several sessions, she revealed that when she lay down to sleep, she would replay every social interaction she had that day and judge her responses. This would take her several hours. Even after she'd gone through all of them, she felt compelled to dig into the ones she thought went poorly and go over them again. This need to replay our social interactions is a major indicator that we are suffering from social anxiety. Fourth, we have digestive issues that appear out of nowhere. When it comes to this symptom, we must first rule out any medical issues that could be causing the nausea, gurgling stomach, and possibly diarrhea. However, if there is no organic cause, it could be related to our social anxiety. When we are stressed, our bodies release hormones and neurotransmitters that can disrupt the balance of bacteria in our gut and the movement of waste through our digestive tract. This can result in bloating, gas, nausea, diarrhea, and a variety of other digestive problems. The long-term effects of this stress on our system can also result in acid reflux, irritable bowel syndrome, and a flare-up if we already have Crohn's or ulcerative colitis. Excessive sweating is number 5. Sweating occurs on a regular basis when we exercise or are outside in the hot sun to cool our bodies down and regulate our temperature. It is produced by our endocrine glands and is made up of potassium, water, and salt. That type of sweat is distinct from what is known as stress sweat. Stress sweat is composed of fatty acids and proteins and is produced by apocrine glands. Our bodies begin to heat up when we are reacting to our strong fear of being embarrassed or when we relive a social interaction that did not go well. We feel embarrassed, and our face, back, and neck can all become extremely hot. When this happens, our apocrine glands produce sweat to help us cool down. When we are anxious and overwhelmed most of the time, we may find ourselves sweating profusely and struggling to stop. As always, I don't want to leave you with just the signs, but also 3 suggestions for how we can better manage our social anxiety symptoms. Build up our resources for calming our system first. Because our anxiety symptoms worsen as we become more agitated, it's best to take some time to figure out what makes us feel better. Is it taking a brief respite from people? Perhaps deep breathing will help. Or performing a full body shake? That's a personal favorite of mine, as you know. So, experiment with various coping skills to see which ones can serve as resources for you as you try to manage your social anxiety symptoms. 2 stages of gradual exposure therapy, that is, once we have mastered our resources, we must put them to use and gradually expose ourselves to anxiety-inducing situations. Make a list of the things that cause you the least anxiety and work your way through it using your resources. Could we first imagine ourselves doing some of them in our heads? Maybe we should bring a supportive person with us when we first try it out. The goal here is to show our brain that what we thought was going to be so bad wasn't so bad, thereby removing that annoying anxiety feeling. Another reason I like this treatment is that it is rarely necessary to repeat it. That is, once we have completed our list, we are not required to continue working on it. Sure, when things are extremely stressful, we may require a booster session here and there, but this is extremely rare. So go ahead and give it a shot. Third, pay attention to your self-talk and try to shift it to a more neutral state. We spend so much time talking to ourselves about things we said or should have said or strange things we did around important people. Stop. Pay attention to the dialogue you're having with yourself. I challenge you to use bridge statements to move it into a more neutral position. That is, instead of allowing our brain to tell us, "I'm such a weirdo and no one likes me," I'm going to push back and tell myself, "You know, I may be a little different from others, but thinking like that doesn't help anything." Now I know that new thought isn't positive, but it's also not negative. And believe me when I say you will notice a difference. I hope you found this information useful. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you again soon.